Go inside the Crimson Tide with your hosts Rodney Orr and Gary Harris, keeping you informed on everything Alabama. And now, Tider Insider TV.
Coach Saban, I think he's one of a kind. He's definitely probably one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game. But you know, it's just great for me and my team because we get to learn from him every day. With his experience, he has a lot of knowledge, and I'm just sitting in and listening every day.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into Tider Insider TV, presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock, proud presenters and distributors of Pepsi products. I am Gary Harris. It's the birthday edition, I guess. 53 today, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. But I tell you what, if you're going to celebrate your birthday, you know I love the Aquafina. I love the Diet Pepsi. But when it's your birthday, you just got to go full-fledged Pepsi power. After all, it's a Southern original. And I guess as long as I've been in the South, I am too.
Well, you know, I would sing happy birthday to you, but you're a lot better. Maybe you can sing happy birthday to yourself before we...
Maybe I will, just a little bit. I'm back to singing just a little bit after the vocal cord surgery. But we're going to get back to the task at hand, which is Alabama sports. Some honest words you heard spoken from Jalen Hurts at the Manning Passing Academy this past weekend. From day one, Hurts bought into the Alabama way, Rodney. You know that. Respect for Coach Saban and a commitment to competition. Now, this past weekend, as we said, Hurts took part in that prestigious Passing Academy the Mannings put on at Thibodaux, Louisiana. With football royalty looking on, Hurts joined other college signal callers like Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold, and even Samford's Devlin Hodges. They all served as camp counselors with the Manning family. Jalen briefly spoke with the media, and he talked about the quarterback competition at Alabama.
At Alabama, every job is, nothing is guaranteed. We have really good competition that comes in every year and pushes us, and that's what it's for. All the quarterbacks at our school are we're doing a great job of competing and making each other better. Both of them do a great job of it. They're both really good guys, highly recruited guys, and they both have, lots of ability.
Now, Jalen Hurts won the job last year because he embraced the competition with Blake Barnett. And this year he continues to embrace the competition. He's being pushed by true freshman Tua Tagovailoa and as well as Mike Jones. But we've said it before, this is the defending SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Rodney, the Freshman of the Year, and the Manning Passing Academy doesn't just invite average quarterbacks. What does this say, even at a national event that Jalen Hurts is still having to talk about a quarterback battle, but he doesn't seem bothered by it? He knows it's part of the process, right?
Well, I think it's part of Alabama football.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly I think the quarterback position is very high profile. And I've always said, if you can play quarterback at Alabama and successfully handle it, you can probably play any position at any place in the country, whether it's football, baseball, on the professional level, whatever it is. You can handle the mental part of it and the emotional part of it and all the things that it takes to be successful here. And Jalen Hurts, what a fantastic job he did as a true freshman. Not only that, but how he's responded since the season and had a really fantastic spring. There you see him in the 8A game where he had a tremendous game there as well. So, he just continues, as you say, Gary, to compete at the highest level.
Ronnie, the great thing about Alabama football, and you don't see this in every endeavor in life, there's no entitlement with Alabama football. Jalen Hurts knows it. All of the other players know it at every position. Last year's last year. You got to come back and earn it again, and it's no different for the quarterbacks. And he's not intimidated at all by the fact that there's some pressure on him. I think he wants that. I think Tua Tagovailoa and Matt Jones want it. I think that's part of playing at Alabama, like you said.
It is, and specifically as you're talking about, speaking of Jalen Hurts, I mean, Gary, a guy that's a true freshman that came in and competed and not only won the job, but look at some of the games that he participated in on the road where he contributed significantly to win. Ole Miss, his first road game, went to Baton Rouge.
Won at LSU.
I mean, just amazing. And I mean, people say, well, maybe he struggled throwing the ball a little bit down there, but he had the big run, as you remember, in the fourth quarter.
And he had to play in the national championship game that could have easily won the game for Alabama there at the end. Well, it's not just the quarterback, as we alluded to. There's competition all over the field at Alabama. And, sometimes, even though guys are willing to compete, they'll transfer out. They just feel like, hey, I'm not going to get an opportunity to play as many reps as I would like. That's starting to happen a little bit this offseason. Clemson. First, Sean Jennings, who we already knew was leaving, announced on Twitter that he was committed to South Alabama. Jennings will have to sit out the 2017 season due to NCAA transfer rules. Perhaps a bigger surprise, though, was this Sunday. T.J. Simmons from nearby Clay Chalkville, who had just a killer spring, Rodney. Not only in practice, but in the 8A game. He's talented. He's tough. Reminds me a little of Ardarius Stewart. But he is going to transfer to West Virginia and be eligible to play for the Mountaineers in 2018. I'm going to be honest with you. I know there's a lot of great players at the position. It caught me off guard.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone really expected that until maybe the last week or so, Gary. I think you're exactly right. I know I certainly didn't. Would not have been surprised had a receiver left. You've got several and only so many are going to play. But I didn't expect T.J. Simmons, as you mentioned, had a really fantastic spring. And, you know, to be honest with you, Alabama has some really outstanding receivers. We know that. They've probably got 7 or 8 of them that are really top-notch players. And I think when you look at his situation, it probably was going to be hard for him to play as much as he wanted to maybe this coming year. But, you know, who knows down the road.
Yeah, and, of course, previously we told you about defensive tackle O.J. Smith transferring out as well. Well, some players, of course, will go. Others are getting set to come in, and Alabama received another 2018 commitment on Friday, and this is a big one. Defensive back Jalen Armour Davis out of St. Paul's Episcopal in Mobile, choosing the Tide over Auburn and Florida State. Rodney, this is a guy who reminds me a lot of Drake Kirkpatrick coming out of high school, rangy, long strider. At one time, just a couple of months ago, wasn't even mentioning it Alabama. It looked like it was going to be Auburn or Florida State, but Nick Saban works his magic. And I got to tell you, I value cornerbacks about like I do left tackles. I just think good ones, really good ones, are hard to find. I think this kid's quality.
Well, he is. He's long. He's, as you mentioned, Gary, he's very athletic. He's versatile. He can play a lot of different positions. There you see him as a wide receiver. Look at the big playability. In a way, maybe like Minka Fitzpatrick in high school with that versatility. Minka, of course, was an outstanding offensive player as well. And, you know, he's a guy, you mentioned, corner. Star, Gary. I think he could play the star position, and I think as he continues to get bigger, he could possibly even play safety, because he is a guy who, when you look at him, has that versatility to do so many different things. And I think when you look at the Alabama secondary and their needs back there, this is a huge pickup, not only because of his talent, but because of their needs.
But nobody gets them all, not even Nick Saban. Today, Zamir White, the top-rated running back in the country from Laurinburg, North Carolina, selected Georgia over North Carolina, Alabama, and Clemson. 6 running backs on campus already, all of them scheduled to return next year if they choose. The number 1 running back from last year, I guess, was just a little too much to ask in the end.
Yeah, probably so. You know, I think he had given some strong indications here in the last 24 hours, but ended up at Georgia.
All right, still to come on Tider Insider TV. Today was picture day for the Alabama men's basketball team. Get a behind-the-scenes look at the future of the Crimson Tide program. And Avery Johnson will give his take on the NCAA's one-and-done rule, an important topic for this year's Crimson Tide team. They may have 1 or 2. We'll discuss. And coming up, we'll be welcoming your phone calls. Now listen, it's that time of the year. We're in the little summer lull, so phone lines are wide open if you want to get through it. 205-348-WVUA. That's 205-348-9882. You can email us, TITV@WVUA23.com, or you can tweet at us using that hashtag TITV. But phone lines are open, 205-348-9882. Call in now to be a part of the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, the one, the only, Tider Insider TV. Say cheese. It was picture day for the Alabama men's basketball team on Tuesday. Riley Norris and Armand Davis getting in on the action, as well as the brand new, highly touted Crimson Tide freshman class. And welcome back to TITV, presented by Buffalo Rock, proud bottlers of Pepsi products. Alongside Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Picture day for the team, and yesterday was teleconference day for Avery Johnson, the SEC teleconference with all the men's head basketball coaches. Coach Avery touched on a number of topics, Rodney, including the much maligned, often discussed one-and-done rule, a rule that could apply for Alabama this coming season.
I have somewhat mixed feelings about it because I want to try to do what's best for the player on one hand, and I think there are exceptions where he's a superior talent, and you know he's got that type of talent that he can go straight from high school to the NBA. Let's do it. But then on the other hand, you know, I hope that the kids that do attend college can stay for at least 2 years, maximum 3. Before they are allowed to go to the NBA.
Yeah, I'd just like to see the rule adjusted a little bit. But one player that could be having to face that decision is Colin Sexton, the Alabama freshman. Of course, Braxton Key tested the waters this year before coming back. But Sexton, a lot of people are saying that he could be a lottery pick, so we'll see what happens with him. But I tell you what, Rodney, it's kind of a mixed bag. You want your players to stay, but at the same time, you probably need to sign a couple of these guys that have this type of talent if you're going to compete for a championship in the SEC.
That's for
right.
sure. I mean, Kentucky signed him. If you want to compete at the highest level, you've got to do it.
Yeah, and Colin Sexton and John Petty, and we saw it with Braxton Key. These are the type of players that are in this discussion. And, you know, you hope that they will have good years, but that maybe they won't have such a good year that they're going to go. But again, it's worth the risk. These are the type of players, if you want to play for a championship, you got to get a few of them. You don't want to I don't know how Kentucky does it. I don't know how they turn the roster over every year, but Calipari's able to do it.
They're Kentucky, and they can recruit on that level.
But for Alabama, this is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. I mean, you've got a guy like this. He's an amazing player. The excitement he's going to create in your program, you never know what kind of that'll generate for the future, too, in terms of, recruiting.
Look at that.
Yeah, just an amazing player.
You can't coach it, but it's going to be a fun season for Alabama men's basketball. All right, coming up on Tider Insider Television, a number of Alabama track and field athletes continue to shine on an international stage. We'll have more on which competitors are moving on to the World Championships. And next, all right, get in on the phone lines. Call now. 205-348-9882. This is an opportunity for all those people that love to message me and say, I can't ever get through. Well, you can get through tonight. Call now. We'll be right back with more Tider Insider TV right after this timeout. 3 Alabama track and field athletes will compete for Trinidad and Tobago. One will compete for Jamaica and another for the United States at the World Track and Field Championships in London. Representing Trinidad and Tobago are Jareem Richards, Reuben Walters, and Dominique Williams. Representing Jamaica will be Stephen Gale. And competing for the USA is Quenisha Burks. The London World Championships begin August 4th. Alabama well represented. All right, Rodney. Ask and you shall receive. We asked for folks to call in. Now the phone lines are kicking. Let's go over to Birmingham and talk with our buddy Reg. Wants to talk a little recruiting. What's up, Reg?
Hey, I want to ask you guys, do you think that the football program may be somewhat reached a point of diminishing returns or declining some? We've lost a lot of coaches, a lot of them left. We had a lot of players quit or leave.
Reg,
let me get your appointment on that.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Rodney pretty quickly. I'll just give you a short answer. No, I don't. And you can pick it up from there.
Well, I fully agree with Gary, Reg. I'm going to tell you, I think they've got some of the best young talent maybe they've ever had. I think this past recruiting class, we're going to find out in time. But, Reg, I think it may be the best one that Nick Saban signed since he's been here. So that should be really good news for you. And I think they've got a lot of outstanding young players. As far as the coaching staff, again, they've had some really outstanding coaches here. They've had some outstanding staffs as a whole. And
these coaches
I'm not sure that this one isn't the best.
And they're moving up. Yeah. I mean, they're getting head jobs, coordinator jobs from position coaching jobs. It's not like they're leaving Alabama to take lower tier jobs.
Well, and I think, too, Reg may have been listening to radio shows where they're talking about Alabama's off to a slow start in recruiting this year, and they're really not. I think this is a plan. They're very methodical in what they do, and they're going to get their commitments. They're going to have another outstanding class.
Yeah, being very selective for a numbers reason, and also because of this early December signing period. I think Nick Saban kind of wants to get a feel for how that's going to go. All right, let's go over to Helena and talk with Steve. How are you, Steve? Steve, you there? Going once, going twice? All right, Steve. All right, let's go on to Havana and talk with Little Kenny. What's up, Little Kenny?
Hey, nothing but the rent. Nothing but the rent.
I hear you, brother.
Hey, and I want to know something about the Steve Sarkisian situation. I'm not always in the loop, but it seems that he accepted the position as offensive coordinator, and then suddenly I heard that they had also hired an associate, and then after that, Sarkisian left. What went on?
Well, he had a chance again to go to the NFL, Little Kenny. I mean, Mike Loxley, is going to have a big input on the offense with Brian Daboll. He would have had a lot of input with Steve Sarkisian, but Steve Sarkisian had a chance to go be the offensive coordinator for the NFC champion Atlanta Falcons that had a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. You know they didn't win it, but I don't think anybody can blame the man for taking a position like that. I think it had more to do with the opportunity than anything to do with what was going on here in Alabama.
Definitely with the opportunity. I certainly don't think that the hiring of a co-offensive coordinator, whatever the title is that Mike Locksley got, had anything to do with it. But you know, the most important thing is that all's well that ends well. And I think Brian Dable is going to do an outstanding job.
All right, coming up on TITV, a Crimson Tide legend is adding coaching to his resume. And the job will keep him right here in Alabama. And coming up, more of your phone calls, emails, and tweets. Again, there's the information. 205-348-9882 is the number. You can email us at the address on your screen, or you can tweet at us. Brandon and Bethany are checking those tweets, but please use the hashtag TITV so we can find you. We'll be back with more of the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV is coming back after this. Watch this video so you don't forget, and it's a good remembrance of how good Tyrone Prothro was. Though a former Alabama wide receiver, is the new wide receivers coach at Spanish Fort High School. He told AL.com he always wanted to coach after his career was over and is working on his teaching certification at the University of West Alabama in order to teach in high school. I mean, this kid was something else, man. Prothro served as an intern with the Carolina Panthers in training camp in 2016. Good for Tyrone. I think he'll be a really good football coach. Just still one of those sad stories of what could have been with him in the National Football League had he not had that horrific injury against Florida in 2005. All right, let's head straight back to the phone lines. Fred from Talladega is with us. Hey, Fred, how are you?
All right, sir. How y'all doing?
Very well, Fred.
I'm glad to have you back, Gary.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you sound much better.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel better. Thanks a lot.
All right, my question is, with the three, which three do you think that's going to start at receiver? With Jerry Jeudy being what he did in the spring game, I really think he's going to be a lock. And my other question is, and I'm going to be quiet after this, the running backs, are we going to have a committee running the ball, or are we going to have the three-back sets that we had in the past?
Well, Fred, it really is a potential embarrassment of riches, isn't it? Rodney, I'll let you pick it up. How do you think the starting receiving core, what will it look like in the running back rotation? How do you see it playing out?
Well, first of all, on the starting receivers, I think they're going to utilize a lot of guys. So I don't know that it necessarily matters who starts, but Calvin Ridley certainly is a guy that will be there. We'll see if Robert Foster, I think if he continues with his spring progress, he'll be in the mix. You know that Jerry Jeudy is going to be in the mix. Cam Sims has been around a while. I think some of the freshmen may contribute. Obviously, I think Henry Ruggs is an outstanding talent. Devontae Smith is here now. I may be forgetting someone off the top of my head, but those are some of the guys that obviously are in the mix. And at running back, wow. 6 of those guys are really incredible talents. Who exactly starts? It may depend on the game.
Yeah,
it may depend on the
matchups.
Game. Yeah, Josh Jacobs is a guy that I think has a great opportunity to start. You've got Bo Scarborough, obviously back, healthy. Damian Harris, has there ever been a guy that's rushed for 1,000 yards, gotten less notoriety than Damian Harris?
And look at Josh Jacobs. Look at what the Patriots do with matchups. And now with Dayball here, think about Josh Jacobs getting matched up on a linebacker and throwing the football to him.
He could have a really big year. And I do think Brian Daboll's going to utilize these guys in a lot of different ways. You talk about how will they utilize them, different roles. You're talking about running. How about his receivers? You mentioned utilizing the backside of the backfield. We saw a lot of that in the A-Day.
Matchups. That's the Patriots way, and Alabama way too. All right, let's go down to Moundville and talk with Dale. Dale, how are you? Dale's gone. Dale, you there?
I'm still there, yeah.
All right, good. Go ahead, Dale.
I thought I had heard that Avery Johnson had played an inter-squad game with the freshmen playing against the upperclassmen. I was wondering if that was true, and if it is, who won the game. And I was just wondering if that might be something that they may consider. I know they're going to Montreal in August.
Right.
Is that something they would consider playing like an 8-day game in basketball, let the fans come out and see it, maybe incorporate a few walk-ons, maybe players, and have a real game, kind of like Kentucky, kind of celebrate their basketball.
Well, Dale, they do a tip-off deal now where they combine the men's and women's programs and have a big festive night. It's usually on a Friday night before before an Alabama football game. So I don't know what their plans are there. I think they'll do something. As far as freshmen versus the upperclassmen in practice, you might see a lot of that. I don't know that we'll see it in those games in Canada or not, but heck, man, I think that's a good idea as far as practice.
Yeah, it is a great idea what he mentioned, and I did hear the same thing he's talking about. So I don't have any details, Dale. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but boy, everybody's excited about basketball, and that's good. Still to come, Alabama golf is making waves once again. A former Crimson Tide standout wins her first professional championship. We'll have the details on the only show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide. And thanks for the phone calls, folks. Tider Insider TV will return right after this timeout. And look at the sky tonight. It is gorgeous outside. We're back after this. Former Alabama women's golf standout Emma Talley notched her first professional victory this weekend at the Island Resort Championship. The win moves Talley into the top 10 in the standings on the Symetra Tour, which serves as a play-in tour to the LPGA. Her win is the first by a former Tide golfer on the Symetra Tour since 2011. And check this out. Former Alabama golfer Justin Thomas predicted that his good friend Jordan Spieth would make this amazing bunker shot during the Travelers Championship. Spieth needed the birdie to edge Daniel Berger in a sudden death playoff. Now, this was the tweet from Thomas after Spieth found himself in the bunker following his approach shot. Thomas said, "Wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Spieth just holed this bunker shot after Spieth did, in fact, hole it." Thomas simply tweeted, "You're welcome." How about that? Well, our beautiful shirts, as always, provided by the Locker Room in downtown Tuscaloosa, home of the original Elephant Wear. Shop in person and go by and see Alex Gatewood and his courteous staff, or you can shop online at their website, locker-room.biz. But, boy, they've got incredible clothes for men and women, too. Get by and see them. You'll be glad you did, and they will fix you up and make you look your best. And speaking of the Locker Room, we want to send out our condolences to our good friends there at the Locker Room regarding the passing of Thomas Hammond last week at age 80. Texas Tom, as he was known to his friends, was a gregarious, outgoing gentleman in every way. And we certainly, Rodney, offer our condolences to the Locker Room and to his family. Again, Thomas Edmund Hammond passing away last week at the age of 80. He will be missed. Well, that is going to do it for the program tonight. Thanks to you for tuning in. Don't forget, if you missed any of tonight's show, you can catch a replay tonight at 10:30 here on WVUA 23 or find it online anytime at WVUA23.com. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Also want to thank all the people that have sent me in birthday wishes today, our viewers, and have enjoyed being with you here on my birthday. All right, that's going to do it for TITV. Have a great night. We'll talk to you again next week. Next week, we'll come to you on Wednesday because of the 4th of July. Make a programming note next week, TITV on Wednesday. So long, everybody.